gone. Weeks got off to a terrible start. Right now he's on quite a roll. And the Brewers have gone 11-3 since they started the year at 4-9. And going back to the 22nd of April, a little better than 2 weeks, they have the best record in baseball. A first pitch breaking ball drops in there, strike one, and this game is underway. Breaking ball again, misses low and away. 1-1 strike.
Keep those leadoff hitters off the base paths, and you got a pretty good chance to pull out a W.
Breaking ball up and in. Well, we were told that it was Greg Gibson behind the plate tonight, and that is definitely not Greg Gibson. That's Tim McClellan.
Boy, they are really messing up.
I mean, it's really amazing about the umpires. And I don't know whose job it is to let the local team know what the umpire rotation is, but almost every single night, it is not the one that is on the lineup card. Every night.
We had it wrong twice in Florida. And we were only there 2 days.
3-1 to Ricky Weeks, and that one lined hard into left center field. And that is up against the wall over the head of Darnell McDonald. So Arroyo falls behind Weeks. 3-1, and he hammers one to start the game with a double. Let's take a look at the Reds defensively, presented by Ford. Darnell McDonald, a rare start tonight, his 5th of the year. He's in left field. Tavares and Bruce in center and right. Hairston moves over to third tonight with Paul Yanish at short. Phillips and Votto on the right side. Arroyo and Hannigan the battery. Up until that at bat, Ricky Weeks was 1 for 20 in his career against Bronson Arroyo.
He's gone back to trying to hit the ball the other way, and that's what allowed him to wait on that pitch from Arroyo.
Now Craig Counsell, and it's on the inside corner, a strike.
Ricky Weeks is a pretty good hitter when he tries to drive the fastball into the right center field gap, and everything that's off speed he pulls.
Counsell, a former National League Championship Series most valuable player. That was in 2001 with Arizona. But he's a native of Wisconsin. Growing up, his father worked for the Brewers for many, many years. And he came back home to play 3 seasons ago. He's just a good, solid player. 2 balls and a strike. Two and one to Counsell. Weeks a leadoff double, and Arroyo a long look back at Weeks, and now he'll back off the rubber. Pulled foul on a breaking ball to even a count of 2-2. Told you Arroyo has pitched well in his career against the Brewers. Lifetime an 8-5 record with an ERA at 3.45. He's pitched much better against him in Milwaukee than he has here in Cincinnati, including his only start against the Brew Crew this year when the Reds went to Miller Park and won 2 of 3 games. That was the very first road series of the year. Pulled foul again.
Counsell has a pretty good ability to either take a fastball inside or whatever pitch it may be that's inside and keep his hands inside the wall and drive the ball down that right field line. What Arroyo is trying to do now is use that for a strength. Get the ball in there, let him pull it foul, and sooner or later Arroyo is going to try to pull the string on that outside corner.
Weeks is a guy who runs very well, but he is not much of a base stealer. Of course, you got to get on to steal, and Ricky was having a hard time doing that the first 2.5, 3 weeks of the year. But he's only 1 for 3 in stolen base attempts so far. Pulled into right field, a base hit by Counsell. They're going to wave around Weeks. Here comes a throw from Jay Bruce, and he is cut down trying to score. Jay Bruce with a cannon out there in right field, and once he fielded it cleanly off the wet grass, his throw right on the nose to Ryan Hanigan.
That's the thing, when you get a good jump on the baseball, it allows you to get to the ball and not only get to it quickly, but your motion is coming right towards your target, which is home plate. He gets the ball there in so much time that Hanigan has to turn around and find the runner because Ricky Weeks isn't even there yet. Nice throw.
It's already the 4th outfield assist this season for Jay Bruce. And you know the word is already out, but it will continue to spread as this season goes on. Advanced scouts here tonight from Arizona and San Diego. The Reds' 2 opponents on the upcoming road trip after the weekend set against the Redbirds.
Well, usually it's run on the rookie. Right now it's don't run on the rookie.
Line caught by Phillips. So early on, Arroyo not fooling anybody, but you talk about living right. He allows a double, a rocket into right, where a runner's thrown out at home, and now a bullet right at Brandon Phillips. You may remember in Arroyo's last start, boy, was he good. That was against the Pirates when he went 8 innings, allowed 4 hits and no runs. He was in trouble in the first, but he said if I could get through this inning without much damage. He thought his command was going to be very good that night, and well, he was right.
It's always that way, it seems like, Tom, with Bronson, that when he gets out onto the mound, that adrenaline really kicks in, and he wants to make sure that he feels what he has, so he knows from each pitch to pitch what to throw. When that heart gets to pumping, it's awful difficult to slow yourself down and flip that 62-mile-an-hour breaking ball up there. You want to make everything 95, and Bronson does not throw 95, as we all know.
Prince Fielder, the only Brewer to start every game so far this year. He leads the club in RBIs and in walks. There's ball 3. It's 3-0. And we told you during the starting lineups, Fielder has good career numbers against Bronson Arroyo. 9 hits and 29 at bats. 3 of those hits home runs. And there's a 4-pitch. Oh, they called it a strike. We got to hang in there with Tim McClellan tonight.
He's slow.
He's an excellent umpire, though.
Yes, he is.
And extraordinarily good, according to pitchers and batters, calling balls and strikes.
Yes, when you don't have a lot of guys arguing, you know he's pretty solid.
Look out down there. Hopefully everybody's all right. It appears as though no problems. That's good news. That guy's here with a Cardinal shirt on. That girl turned around and yelled at him.
I think she said that ball should have hit you.
So 3-0 has gone to 3-2 on Fielder. And there's ball 4 inside. So if Arroyo can get out of this inning without Milwaukee doing any damage, he will certainly take a deep breath, look to the heavens, and say many thanks. Because it's not been a pretty start for Bronson Arroyo.
A lot of pitchers, it takes an inning to get loose and to get heated up. For Arroyo, it takes an inning for him to slow down a little bit and cool off.
Ball 1 low. Mike Cameron, a .293 batter, 6 home runs and 16 runs batted in. A one-time Red, Cameron. Of course, he was involved in the Ken Griffey Jr. trade at the end of the '99 year. 1-1 the count.
With McClellan, you're going to see a little bit higher strike zone than what you normally see. Not that that's going to work to Arroyo's favor, but that's what you see from McClellan.
2 on, 2 out, and a fastball runs up and inside. 2 balls and a strike to Mike Cameron. Arroyo trying to survive the first inning. He's faced 4 batters. 3 have reached. 1 was thrown out at the plate and another lined out to Brandon Phillips. And that pitch misses low. 3-1 to Cameron. Arroyo appears to be getting a little bit frustrated out there on the mound.
Well, that's a pitcher's pitch right there, Tom. That is at the bottom of the strike zone, and Tim McClellan is a very tall man. His strike zone is a little bit higher than most.
Dangerous pitch here, 3-1, and a breaking ball is on the outside corner to even a count. So now the runners get started.
McClellan's strike zone is a little higher and a little wider than it is lower and tighter. Every umpire has a different strike zone. I don't care what that rule book said.
3-2 pitch. Breaking ball is high, and the bases are loaded for Milwaukee here in the first inning. 24 pitches thrown so far by Bronson Arroyo, and now he's got to face J.J. Hardy after a visit from Ryan Hannigan.
Anytime that you throw a fastball in here, that's the kind of reaction you want from the hitter. You want the hands to retreat, and then you want the head to retreat so you can go back out there to the outside corner. And you see Cameron, he totally lost his vision of home plate.
Well, now Corey Hart, the batter, I beg your pardon, a .287 hitter, 3 home runs and 10 knocked in. And a breaking ball is in there for strike 1. Corey Hart last season a National League All-Star for the first time in his career. He knocked in 91 runs for the Brewers. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And I don't worry as much about Bronson Arroyo's pitch count early as I do about the other 4 guys in the rotation, because they expend a lot more energy throwing the baseball than Bronson does.
Back up the middle and into center field, a base hit. 2 Brewers will score. So Corey Hart on a 1-1 pitch makes it 2-0 Milwaukee here in the opening inning, and Arroyo is having a terrible time of it on the mound.
Tom, this pitch is supposed to be inside. It stays out over the plate. It doesn't look like Corey Hart gets the meat of the bat on the ball. He hit it down the bat a little bit, but still enough to get the ball right back up the box. And we've seen Hart in a lot of runners in scoring position situations where he doesn't try to overswing. He just tries to hit the ball back up the middle or the other way, and he's successful there.
Well, Counsell scores, Fielder scores, Cameron on to third, and now it's J.J. Hardy. Hardy was struggling so badly that Ken Maka just sat him down for a couple of games over the weekend. He came back yesterday, and apparently the rest did him some good. And 3 hits, knocked in 4 runs. And in his last 3 games, he has 5 hits and 10 at-bats. 2-0.
I think a lot of folks, Tom, think that sitting a player down is good for them physically. It gives them a rest or some of those things. I don't think sitting down and being out of a ball game, for the most part, has anything to do with the physical part of your game. what it does is it allows you to recharge mentally so you can go back out and concentrate and do the things that you need to do.
2 balls and a strike on J.J. Hardy. Runners on the corners, 2 runs in. And a breaking ball misses again.
Now, I know we're seeing an awfully tight strike zone right now with Tim McClellan behind home plate. He doesn't change. It'll be the same for Manny Parra when he hits the mound.
Hardy, the 7th man to bat in what has been a 2-run Milwaukee first inning. They're on the corners with 2 away. And a 3-1, a bluff to throw to third and to first. Well, Arroyo just trying to survive this inning.
He's trying to find a place in that strike zone where he can go for safety, and right now he hasn't been able to find it.
Fly ball down the right field line, hit a ton, and that ball is gone. A 3-run home run to right by J.J. Hardy. So the Reds get off the plane, and no sooner do they get back in the ballpark, they're down 5-0 here in the first inning. Wow. Well, you fall behind 3-0, 3-1. I don't care who the batter is or what kind of slump they're in or not in. You will get punished. That may have been a bit of a cheapie down the right field line, but a home run nonetheless.
Well, you look at this Milwaukee order 1 through 9, and we talked about this when we were in Milwaukee when they were not hitting the baseball, that we were very fortunate that the Reds were playing this Milwaukee team at a time where they weren't swinging the bats well at all. And the Reds pulled out some ball games there and some victories in that road trip. And now that Milwaukee is swinging the bats better, the pitching is going to have to change just the same. Normally, Arroyo is has pretty good numbers against this ball club. But today, getting out of the first inning is proving awfully difficult. That number right there, 6.60, not so good.
Well, it's in 2 starts. I mean, it's exactly like what you talked about if you could take away the 1 against Atlanta. The season ERA instead of 4.9 is in the low 2s. So, I mean, the start against Atlanta, he got off to an awful start in the first 3 innings. What a play by Brandon Phillips. And he takes away a 5th hit in the Milwaukee first inning. The Gold Glove winning Reds second baseman steals one from Jason Kendall there. Hairston Jr. at third. Joey Votto is at first base. Brandon Phillips at second. Jay Bruce, good career numbers, real good in fact against Milwaukee, batting fifth. Hitting sixth in left field is Darnell McDonald. Ryan Hannigan catching. Paul Yanish at short. Brunson Arroyo on the mound. Well, certainly the Reds haven't even come to the plate down 5-0, but Manny Parra has had a hard time early this season slowing down the opponents.
Well, he's had a hard time against anyone, and this is a time where the Reds pitching is not held up in the first inning, so the Reds batters have got to even things up. Not put pressure on yourself and feel like you have to get a home run on every at bat. You just make base runners and let things take care of themselves.
Parra will have bouts of wildness. You see the 16 walks in 25 innings. Well, I'm certain that Brooke Jacoby, the Reds hitting coach, and manager Dusty Baker have made mention to those in the lineup and those on the bench. Use some patience with Parra on the mound. 1 ball and 1 strike. There you get a look at Brooke Jacoby. Two and 1 to Willie, a .261 batter with a couple of runs batted in. Leads a team with 5 stolen bases, 1 better than Brandon Phillips. Popped up behind the mound, and Craig Counts has got it 1 away. Take a look at Milwaukee defensively, presented by Ford. Braun, Cameron, and Hart in the outfield. Counsell and Hardy on the left side, Weeks and Fielder on the right, and a battery of Kendall and Manny Parra.
Well, if you're going to hit it anywhere, hit it to Weeks. He's got 5 errors already.
Jerry Hairston Jr. coming off a rock-solid night last night in Florida. He had 2 hits, drew a walk, stole a base, scored 3 times. In fact, the first 4 hitters in the Reds lineup last night combined for 7 hits, as there's a tapper to Hardy. And there are 2 away in the inning. They drew 4 walks, scored 7 runs, and knocked in 7. But at least early on, the first 2 batters, the Reds going up there hacking. Willie Taveras on the 4th pitch ahead in the count, 2-1. And Hairston after the 2nd pitch.
And it's not that the Reds hitters were hacking, it's that they were pulling off pitches that were down and away. You're doing Parra a favor if you try to pull the ball. He's left-handed. He's going to run it away from you if you're right-handed.
0-1 to Joey Votto. .378 batter, 3 home runs, and 23 runs batted in. See, at a batting average second only to Carlos Beltran, hitting over 400 for the Mets. One and 2 to Joey Votto. Just when you think Votto's starting to slow down, here he comes again. Put together a 5-game hitting streak. He has 9 hits in his last 17 at bats, including 4 2-hit games. He was on base 5 times last night, all 5 plate appearances. He walked 3 times, once intentionally, stole a base, knocked in a run on a 2-for-2 night, and scored a pair of runs. What a start to this year for Joey Votto. And that strike 3 called on the inside corner. So Parra mows him down in order. End of 1. The Brewers in front, 5-0. Phillips flips behind the back, and the runner is safe.
Well, he had to flip it behind the back there. If he flips it in front, he's going to hit Bronson Arroyo. Arroyo just does miss it, and Arroyo is in the way if he turns to throw it from the underside.
And you see it pulled his foot off the back because he had to reach so high, did Joey Votto.
Boy, he barely was off of it.
But to finish up with Alex Gonzalez just very quickly, we told you earlier, for those of you that were not with us, Dr. Kremchek confirming a strained left oblique. They gave him a cortisone shot, and the Reds will wait another day or two to decide what to do about Alex Gonzalez. You see that almost 1,100 career starts for him at short. And really the duo of Jerry Hairston Jr., who played there last night, Paul Janisch tonight, without even 70 combined starts at that position. Bronson Arroyo labored through the first inning, allowing 5 runs. And here, after an infield hit by the pitcher Manny Parra to begin the second, he's fallen behind Weeks 3-0. Weeks doubled his first time up. And there's a 4-pitch walk.
He is really having a tough time getting some semblance of a balance point to drive the ball to home plate. His release point is all over the place, and not on purpose. It's just that way because he can't find the right one.
Greg Counsell singled into right field his first time up. He'll single into right field again. They're going to hold Parra. So the Brewers have the bases loaded with nobody out. And the Reds have to start their bullpen. And they really don't have a true long man down there. And when the Reds have starts like this, it is not a good thing for that bullpen. They don't have a guy like a Homer Bailey down there to come out of the pen and maybe chew up 5 innings for you.
And you would think that one man could be Massett, but Massett, I believe, has pitched the last 2 nights in Florida.
Well, everybody almost
in the 14-inning game, and then Massey was the one that finished up the ball game last night.
That is Daniel Ray Herrera getting loose in the bullpen. Jeff, the fan at home, and even the fan up here in the booth, wonders how games like this happen, where for Arroyo, maybe once every 5 starts or so, it's something like this. I'm not beating up on the guy. I mean, he's had a good run at it here with the Reds. And outside of that one game against Atlanta, he's had an outstanding year. But that has been the MO on Bronson Arroyo, really going back to his days even in Boston. About every 5 or 6 games, it's like this.
Well, part of it is every pitcher has a start every 5 to 10 starts where you just have nothing on the baseball. And those are the times where you really have to use your head to keep you in the ball game and not your arm or your body. And right now the concentration level for Arroyo is off, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing.
Bases are loaded with nobody out for Ryan Braun, and there's a check swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
This is really the point in time, Tom, as a pitcher. You got to fight with everything that you got, because you don't have much in the tank right now. And that's obvious by watching Arroyo. He has no feel for where anything is going. So you've got to bear down, and you've got to fight against every hitter that comes up there.
Grounded foul to get ahead of Braun at 1-2. An infield hit by Parra started the inning. A walk to Weeks on 4 pitches put him on. And then Counsell makes it a 2-for-2 night in his many innings with a base hit into right field to load him up. Still 1-2 on Ryan Braun.
Well, it seems to me that every batter from the beginning of the ball game, from Ricky Weeks all the way back to now Ryan Braun, have come to the plate looking for something off speed to drive the other way. That's Bronson Arroyo's MO. If that's the case, if Bronson recognizes that, he better start throwing some fastballs.
Throws one there, and it's foul down the third base line.
And even that pitch at 88 miles an hour got in on the hands of Braun. That ball was not hit very well at all. Watch where this pitch ends up. Right in on the hands of Braun. You could really see him pull his hands in to hit the ball. If it lands fair, probably cleans the bases up, but he pulled it foul.
For whatever reason, Braun has done almost all of his damage on the road rather than at Miller Park. There's some damage here on this swing. Into deep left center field. Taveras at the wall. A grand slam for Ryan Braun. And it is 9-0 with nobody out in the second inning. So the Reds' major league leading team ERA has blown up here in the first 2 innings tonight. Wow. That is 2 starts this year that Bronson Arroyo has allowed 9 earned runs. And his night is over after that grand slam from Braun. 1+ inning for Arroyo. And he serves up 7 hits, 3 walks, and 9 earned runs. Mercy. A very early Skyline call to the bullpen. We're back in a moment. Fans are. Come off another winning road trip as they did the first time, winning 7 of 10 through Milwaukee, Houston, and Chicago. You go 3-2 through Pittsburgh and Florida and play your best game of the year last night. And here we are in the second inning tonight. And Daniel Ray Herrera is replacing Bronson Arroyo with the Reds down 9-0 with nobody out in the second inning. We brought it up last night during broadcast that with that 14-inning game the night before, as it's 2-0 on Fielder, that Dusty Baker was going to stretch Edinson Volquez a bit because the Reds don't have another off day until Thursday, and that's not tomorrow Thursday. That's a week from tomorrow. They've got one more game obviously here against Milwaukee. 3 games in a row against St. Louis, then a 3-game series out in Arizona starting Monday night. It's going to be all bullpen for a full 8 innings in this one. Three and 2 on Fielder. And there is strike 3 called.
That's right down the heart of the plate. Fastball. Boom.
So 1 gone here in the Milwaukee second inning, and now the batter is Mike Cameron. Oh, and 2. Cameron, his first time up, walked in that 5-run opening inning. And really through all the hits and of course on all the highlights, as Cameron hammers one down the left field line for a base hit. Over to cut it off is Darnell McDonald, and he will hold Cameron to a 1-out single. But really, you take a look at, the Hardy home run will be replayed tomorrow. The grand slam, of course, will be. But the 3 walks were a real killer for Arroyo in this game tonight. 2 of them back-to-back in the first inning. I mean, remember, the Brewers had a runner at first with 2 men out in the first inning. Then came those walks in front of the single and the home run.
Two-out walks are not usually they don't usually make your situation real good. That doesn't matter what kind of game you're playing.
Breaking ball, swung on and missed.
Corey Hart's got to be thinking to himself, what was that? He was almost in the left-handed hitter's batter's box as his bat came around.
Two to Corey Hart.
Got that same pitch on Fielder, but not on Corey Hart. His knees must be a little bit higher.
2-2 to Hart. And a ground ball pulled to short. Giannis for 1, the throw, and not in time to double up Hart. Very slow infield tonight. And that ball seemingly took forever to get to Paul Giannis. Wasn't hit all that hard to begin with.
I think he decelerated his bat just a tad as he made contact, rolled right over the top of it. Plus, you got to give a little credit to Corey Hart. He was hustling down the line, even with a big lead. He's still running.
So 2-away in the inning. Hart over at first. Reds trailing 9-0. Bronson Arroyo knocked out of the game after serving up 5 runs in the first inning and a grand slam in the second to Ryan Braun. Marty had a 3-run home run down the right field line, capping off that 5-run first inning. Well, JJ now 6 hits in his last 11 at bats since Ken Maka sat him down for a couple of days, and there's a 4-pitch walk.
Danny Herrera is going to have to get some outs in a hurry, because I would imagine Dusty Baker would like to get at least a couple of innings out of him. And this is the kind of ball game where the manager might say, well, you're going to be out there for a while.
Ninth man to bat in the inning is Kendall. He looks at ball 1. Well, you get so spoiled having these great starts by the Reds pitchers coming into the game tonight. 4 shutouts in their last 6 games. It's only the 3rd time in the live ball era a Reds team has ever done that. 1943 and 1970. But it's interesting, through all of that, you have a 14-inning game and then a start like tonight. And where most teams in baseball would kill to have that kind of a run over a 6-game stretch, as you go into a 7th game, a week full of games, because of the 14-inning game and the start by Arroyo tonight, you have a pitching staff that can conceivably be really high behind the 8 ball. And there's ball 4 to Kendall.
Five quality starts, 3 shutouts. Of course, those would be the 3 games that the Reds won. One of the ball games they lost 3-2 in 14 innings.
And now Dick Pole is going to come out of the Reds dugout, and I'm sure, Cowboy, he's going to echo exactly what you just said. Hey, look, I don't know when the last time was you threw about 75 or 80 pitches in a game. Well, you might want to start throwing strikes, because tonight is that night.
And this is the night where your ERA is either going to take a beating or your body is, but one or the other is going to take a beating, because you're going to be in this ball game. We've all been there. Anybody that's ever pitched in the big leagues, your manager has come out and said, hey, you're in there. And boy, Dick Pole and Tim McClellan are going at it right now.
Well, you can see Dusty Baker just so deflated down there in the Reds dugout.
Well,
you can understand why.
Yeah, nobody wants to play catch up from 9 runs.
Strike 1 to the pitcher, Manny Parra.
The one thing that you can do, Tom, is you keep playing your game.
Yep.
You continue to run, you hit and run, you steal, you do whatever you do in a regular ball game, just like it's a 1-1 game.
Slow roller to Giannis. He will play to second, and the inning is over. A grand slam by Ryan Braun chases Bronson Arroyo. It's 9-0 Brewers. Tonight's baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. By JTM, food, family, fun, JTM. And by Jeep, it's a new day. Have fun out there. Jeep. Well, yes, the Reds are down 9-0 after the grand slam by Ryan Braun. But the Reds have 8 full at-bats to try and find a way to start chipping away. And they'll start here in the second inning against Manny Parra with Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, and Darnell McDonald.
This is a nice little character check for the boys. You fly on an airplane all night long after a comeback and win after a 14-inning ball game. Got your brains beat out in the first 2 innings. Let's see what you got, what you made of.
Well, we understand that the Brewers had a very late night getting in here. They were playing in a pretty much a steady mist, a light rain all night in Pittsburgh, a game that took almost 4 hours. And then took a long time to get off the runway in Pittsburgh to get into the air to make the trip to Cincinnati. And from what we're told, they basically landed about the same time we did, a little after 2 o'clock in the morning, which means by the time you get off the plane and get back to the hotel, or in the Reds players' cases, get back home, oh, you're not going to bed before 3:30 in the morning.
And there's still a lot of guys on both sides that have some money, if you will, to be made up. And I'm talking about from a batting average standpoint, from doubles and home run standpoint. We just finished a month of April where there's a lot of guys that were disappointed in their numbers.
Weeks, a nice play, gets up, throws out. No, they call him safe. Did the throw pull Fielder off the bag, or did Phillips beat it out? That's a nice play by Ricky Weeks.
I think Phillips beat it out. I think he was running all the way down the line. Had he pulled Fielder off the bag, I think you would have seen the signal from the first base umpire that he pulled him off. Weeks caught that ball going into the outfield. Nope, he just beat him to the bag. How about that?
That one gets away, and on to second base in the scoring position is Brandon Phillips.
Phillips puts the ball in play, and you can see him just turn on the afterburner all the way down the line. And when you see an infielder go on his belly, you know you got a chance to make it.
So Jay Bruce batting for the first time here in the bottom of the second inning, takes outside 2-0.
You can see Manny Parra, as he backed out from that pitch, a 2-0 pitch, split the plate in half, but the ball was down, according to Tim McClellan. Arroyo saw the same calls.
And there's a 4-pitch walk, so now the Reds have the first 2 on here in the second inning. All right, now you know about that beautiful new Toyota Tundra way out there in left center field. Now, if a Reds player hits that Tundra sign, or the one out in right center field, the Tundra sign,
that one's
in tonight's
closer.
game, yep, Sharon L. Cook from Cincinnati will win that Tundra. Register for your chance to win during an upcoming game at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers.
Now, that's not Sharon L. It's Sharon L.
Right.
Cook. I just want to
Sharon.
There are some Sharon L's.
L. There's ball one high to Darnell McDonald. Thank you for cleaning that up, though. I have no doubt many people wondering.
I mean,
you're right.
There are some Sharon L's, and then there's Sharon L.
Yes.
Cook.
Oh. This will be a double play. Well, Darnell McDonald got ahead in the count 1-0 and swung at the very first strike that he sees and bounces into a double play.
And he's got that lean back on that swing, which you cannot have at this level. That's what you have down in Double-A. You can't do that up here in the big leagues. If you lean back on the baseball, you're going to top it on the ground every time.
Now Ryan Hanigan, the Reds catcher, who is playing in just his 8th game this season. Been so many games like the 14-inning game the other night where you're so reluctant to bring in your backup catcher when you carry just 2 catchers on a team. Hanigan has hit safely in all 5 of his starts. 7 hits in 17 at-bats when he has been in the starting lineup. He's done a really nice job.
He really has, Tom. And I think on a ball club where you had another position player that could catch in an emergency, you'd see a lot more ABs for Ryan Hanigan.
The only strike that Parra has thrown since the infield hit by Brandon Phillips was the 1-0 pitch to Darnell McDonald.
The ball that he hit to third, I don't think that was a strike. I thought it was a ball. I thought he swung at a ball.
That one misses way inside.
He had to have thrown one to Hanigan.
One to Hanigan. I thought there was one pitch. I thought that was the one
I thought that was the one you were talking about. Because that pitch that McDonald swung at was up high.
3-1 on Ryan Hanigan. And a little bleeder into shallow center. And this one will be caught by Cameron. And the inning is over. End of 2. Brewers in front 9-0. The biggest singles party of the year.
It's got the baseball Cincinnati Red Stockings 1869 on the front and Chipotle on the back. That's right.
That's a sweet T-shirt, though. I mean, that right there, the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings Baseball Club.
Fun in the front, eating on the back.
Very nice.
There you go. Turn it inside out if you spill it.
You can get tickets at 381-REDS. That's 381-REDS, or go to Reds.com for tickets tomorrow night to singles night or any game here at Great American Ballpark this summer. Here's a 1-0 to Ricky Weeks. Daniel Ray Herrera in relief of Bronson Arroyo, who lasted an inning plus. Gave up 7 hits, 9 earned runs. Did not strike out or struck did not strike out a batter. Walked 3. Herrera has the game's only strikeout.
The last time Arroyo did that, he reeled off about, what, 15 wins in a row afterwards.
Now you're a guy who likes all kinds of food. I know you love digging into some of that Chipotle. I mean, that is big league Mexican food. And of course, I say that on the heels of the great celebration of Cinco de Mayo, which was yesterday.
Right.
Now, you don't live too far from one of those Chipotles. I mean, you ever swing through there and pick up one of those chicken burritos late night after a ball game?
I have, and I liked it. I really did. But, you know, I like to eat. I like food. I like to test it. You know, I may write a book on restaurants one of these days.
On restaurants or just food? I think you know a lot more about food than restaurants,
well,
don't you? I mean, with time we've spent around each other.
Yeah, but I've had now almost 22, 23 years of traveling, big league travel, first class travel, where I've had a chance to go to restaurants from upstate New York, New York City, Washington, Miami, all the way over to
Seattle,
Dana Point. That's why I said Washington. All the way over to Dana Point.
You meant D.C. there.
San Francisco, Chicago, heart of the Midwest. I've even eaten barbecue in North Carolina. So I would consider myself
pretty good expert.
Quite an epicureal expert.
Ooh, nice. That's a big word. That word has never been used on a Reds game before. You want to say that again?
Epicureal expert.
Okay.
I like my grub.
Inside to Counsell. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Already 9 hits to go with the 9 runs for the Brewers in this one. The longest career outing by Herrera came last season when he pitched 2 innings. He had Counsell swinging there, and for Daniel Ray, his 2nd strikeout of the game.
Curveball starts right at the front hip, breaks right over the outside corner, and Craig Counsell holding that bat up high, tries to reach it with the big part of the bat. Still couldn't quite get it. Probably needed a tennis racket on that one.
Now Ryan Braun, he lined out to Brandon Phillips in the 1st inning, and then he lined one over the left center field wall with 3 runners aboard to chase Bronson Arroyo in the 2nd.
I want to see him throw that screwball to Ryan Braun and let him come on court. You might hear that back snap up here.
There's a check swing, a appeal. He did not go around. 1-1 to Braun. What a start this guy's had to his major league career.
Yes, he has. When we were in Milwaukee, he was hitting less than 200. He's now up to 308, 5 dingers and 18 RBI. You got to hate that as a hitter right there. Change up, screwball on the inside corner, and you're trying to jack one into the 3rd deck in left field, and this baby just dropped right on in there. Oops.
1-2 to Braun. Then he goes away from you, and you wave through it. That's what you were looking for.
Billy. Come in, come away. Oh. When you walk back to the dugout after swinging like that, everybody's got a towel over their face, and all you can hear is
going to Brent's fielder. Breaking ball away. So you think that they will they'll chuckle about that with Mr. Moore? Of course, when you've hit a grand slam and we're only in the 3rd inning, guys can laugh at you, and hopefully you can handle it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's laughing at him though right now.
Oh, they're laughing. They're not looking at him and laughing. They're laughing under their breath.
Grounded to Brandon Phillips, and the inning is over. A scoreless inning for the Brewers. Well done by Herrera. Reds will bat in the third, trailing 9-0. Reds ever come back from a 9-run deficit? The answer would be yes. In the heyday of the Big Red Machine in 1976 at Wrigley Field, Reds after 5 innings were down 10-1 and won it 13-10 in 1 extra frame. Wow. Well, they're down 9-0 batting in the third. Paul Giannis to lead things off. He'll be followed by Herrera. And then back to the top of the order, Willie Taveras. I know some of you have been waiting all night, and we're very early in this game for our Reds text poll question. They have become, we understand, enormously popular. Tens of thousands of people have voted via text mail. Text your choice to 37664 1, 2, 3, or 4. We'll go back, give you the choices again here, and this is the question. After this homestand, where will the Reds be in the National League Central? 1 first, 2 second, 3 third, 4 fourth. So a lot of you are already texting in and calling in, wondering when we would have our text poll question, and we waited to the third inning tonight. Already, many of you texting in immediately. I mean, watch this baby move. I mean, look at that as they continue to roll in. This is all done through a computer. Fascinating stuff to see it in action.
So what would the Reds record have to be for them to be in second place? And I guess that.
Well, in second place, I mean, you know, they're only a half game out of second. They win this game tonight, they're in second.
Right.
You know, so I mean, they're 2.5 behind the Cardinals.
2.5 behind the Cardinals.
But so, you've got.
So let's say they win one of these games against the Brewers and 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals. That should kind of tell you.
Well, it would all depend, of course, what Milwaukee did once they left here and what the Cubs do, because the Cubs are right there in the mix with the Reds. And
yeah, but the Cardinals are the team that's ahead.
Yeah, they are. But I mean, all the teams are separated by 2.5 games or less.
Right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you're saying if they won more games than we did.
Right. Okay. Exactly. Our system does its best to keep up with all of the texting coming in so rapidly, so we'll check back in on where that stands in just a little while. Cowboy, you're doing all that twittering now.
I am.
I understand that you're actually your Twitter is getting as many, if not more, hits than Jim Day, and that's almost impossible to believe.
Well, all I've got to do is just thank the people that have come in and wanted to be part of the Reds Cowboy, because I'm trying to learn this thing. I'm still having difficulty getting my picture up on the Twitter site.
What are you wearing in that picture?
It's very similar to my media picture.
In your beach wear?
No,
no,
it's not beachwear. Stop it. I do have no. But I'm having trouble doing that. Every time I put it on there, they say it's too big.
That'll be an infield hit for Taveras.
Good hustle.
He rolls over a 3-1 pitch and legs it out. I know Jim Day has helped you a lot in becoming acclimated with Twittering or tweeting. What do they call it? Twittering or tweeting?
I think it's called tweeting. I think it's called tweeting is when you actually do the.
You check other people's Twitter.
No. Tweeting is when you're actually putting the sentences in.
Okay, the characters.
And Twitter is Twitter.com is the name of the company.
I read an article about that company the other day.
Did you? Is it big?
Are you kidding me?
I mean,
they had a faster growth quarter. These two guys that started this company. The last quarter, they had larger growth than Google. Last quarter. I
don't doubt that. I mean, it is the hottest thing going.
Our text poll question, and we will update you on this all night.
Yeah, I don't know that that's right now, because I don't think that. I haven't even put my vote in, and my vote's going to be second. So,
okay.
How do you like me now?
One and one to Jerry Hairston Jr. And now 2 balls and a strike. I'm told tweeting, like you said, is when you actually post it. So it's not typing in the characters. It's actually when you hit the send button. If that's what you do.
That's the same thing. I type it in, and when you hit update, that's your tweet.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, thank you.
I'm trying. I'm like I said, I'm learning it as fast as I'm doing it.
Swing and a miss. Runner goes, and in there safely with a steal is Willie Taveras. Now that's what you talked about a minute ago.
And I'm also trying to learn how to follow people, to see what they're tweeting and what they're doing.
Gotcha.
And that's something that you have to figure out. And you also have to. People like for you to put a picture up there, because there's a few folks out there right now that are not real happy that the Cowboy doesn't have a picture up. But I'm working on it. So patience is a virtue.
Runner at second base, 2 away. 2-2 to Jerry Hairston Jr. Fouled away. I only have one final question, and we will move away from this topic momentarily anyway.
All right.
Don't you think if you're going to put up a picture that you should do something besides the one in the media guide? I mean, those things are generally pretty boring. Well, I mean, why not in cowboy attire? Wranglers, cowboy boots, a cowboy hat.
All right, I'm going to answer.
Maybe chaps.
Here's the thing. You can put a picture in there for the beginning.
That's off the glove of fielder. They're going to hold the runner Taveras at third. That'll be a base hit for Jerry Hairston Jr.
You can put a picture up there for the beginning, like just to have a picture instead of just this brown square. And that's what I'm trying to do. And then I'm going to go back and enhance my version of my picture.
Okay. All right, I'm going to leave this alone now.
And then I'm going to continue to update it as time moves along.
Well, now the Reds have a chance to at least start putting a dent in this 9-0 lead.
Well, even a hit here would be a dent.
Votto fouls it away off to the third base side. Strike 1 to Joey Votto.
Of course, a home run could be a slug. And a triple could be a pop.
Votto struck out the first 2 batters in this inning. The next 2 have reached. on infield hits. Tavares a little roller, but he legs out for a hit with 2 away, and then Hairston a line drive to the right of Prince Fielder and deflected off his glove into short right field.
And I really believe if the Reds can get something going, I think Parra will have a meltdown.
2 balls and a strike.
You can see what happens to him when a little bit of pressure starts to be applied from the opposition. He starts throwing the ball down in the dirt, up and in, down in the dirt again, taking deep breaths, starting to look around the outfield.
3 balls and a strike now to Joey Votto.
See, he really wanted that pitch right there. He's talking to himself.
Well, Dusty knows he has seen a lot of baseball. We've got a lot of baseball still to be played in this game tonight, 9-0 or not. And now they are loaded for Brandon Phillips.
I told you they could work him. He threw that ball about 58 feet. A fastball that's supposed to be a strike with a 9-run lead, and he bounced it in front of the plate.
But Cowboy, like you said a moment ago, patience is a virtue.
Correct.
And the Reds down 9-0 cannot give away at bats feeling like this game is over. We haven't seen it from the last 3 batters. You had the 1 at bat in the 2nd inning, or after you put 2 on with nobody out. Darnell McDonald getting a rare start, wanting to get aggressive and jump on a pitch, make something happen.
It's when you're down by 9, it's not time to be a hero. He's already talking to himself. You get a pitcher to start talking to himself, things are starting to go the wrong way. And that's the right way for the Reds.
Well, let's see if the Reds can capitalize. Bases loaded with 2 men out. Brandon Phillips, a batter. He had a base hit up the middle his first time up, and he takes high for ball 1.
I mean, there's a chance he could walk in a couple of runs here, maybe 3 or 4.
You got to give him that chance to do it, though.
That's right, and that's where the patience comes in.
1-0 on Brandon Phillips. A ball and a strike.
That was a ball.
Brandon knocked in 6 runs in the game in Florida last night. The 3rd time in his career he's knocked in at least 6 runs in a game, which ties him with Ryne Sandberg among second basemen since the expansion era. This one popped up. Who wants it? Does anybody want it? Fielder will take it. The biggest guy wins out. So the Reds leave them loaded. End of 3, 9-0 Brewers. Well, it was a big hit, that show. Give you a little while to think about it. Uke, was that funny stuff having him in here tonight?
I thought it was hilarious.
He is a funny, funny man.
Especially when he started talking about being born. He was halfway through the story before I realized he was just kidding. I thought he really did get dropped on his head.
I mean, he is so much fun, and people say all the time, is that guy really like he is on TV or when you see him on the Tonight Show or in movies? Is he really like that in person? And the answer is yes. I mean, he's a very upbeat, fun guy, good guy.
Good personality. And how do you do that? How do you talk like that? And everybody else is laughing, and his face is just as straight. Like why are y'all laughing?
We appreciate Bob coming in tonight, joining us. There's a nice play made down at third by Hairston, and then throws it into the stands. Of course, the ball is very wet everywhere tonight. It's not making excuses. Those are just the facts. They have the infield covered, but it's still wet out there.
You know, on that play, Tom, he may have spun a bunch of dirt up into the throwing hand because the ball hit so hard right in front of him. I mean, like you said, not to make any excuses for anybody, but it looked as though when he threw the ball that a bunch of particles came out from within the ball in his hand.
Corey Hart had a 2-run single with 2 outs in the 5-run first inning. That was in front of the home run by J.J. Hardy that made it 5-0. For those of you just joining us and wondering what in the world has happened tonight, well, that was the tale in the first. Then in the second inning, Bronson Arroyo still on the mound. Allowed an infield hit, a walk, a single, and then a grand slam to Ryan Braun. 9-0, and then Arroyo was taken out of the game.
Probably best explained by just saying, remember Toronto last year. Now that happened again.
Not much to like on that line.
No.
In fact, a great deal to try and forget.
And that's part of pitching. You're going to have rough nights.
2-2 to Hart.
You'll have some great ones and you'll have some tough ones. One thing that you can for sure count on, without a shadow of a doubt, is the fact that every 5th day Bronson Arroyo is going to take the baseball. You can't say that about everybody.
Herrera delivers a 2-2, a check swing and a miss, and that is strike 3.
Yes, he
so for Herrera, that is 4 strikeouts since he's come into the game, and that sets a new career high for him. 2 1/3 innings so far tonight. I want to remind you, this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Evan Longoria and the Rays head to Fenway to take on David Ortiz and the Red Sox. That's at 3:30 following This Week in Baseball at 3 p.m. on Fox. I'm not sure what game we're going to get in Cincinnati. We also have Atlanta and the Phillies on Fox this weekend. Base hit into right field. Bruce going to charge hard. They're going to hold the runner at third base.
Fool me once, not twice. The jump is where it's at, and it's quick and right off the bat in right field. Look how quick you see Jay Bruce out here coming after the baseball. And as soon as you see that, the third base umpire holds up his hands. You can see Bruce in the background, and no more getting thrown out at home plate.
So now runners on the corners for Jason Kendall.
And what that quickness does in right field by Jay Bruce is it gives Daniel Herrera an opportunity to get a ground ball here, try and get a double play, and keep that runner Cameron at third base and keep him from scoring.
Fouled off out of play, and Herrera ahead of Kendall at 0-2. Here's Jay Bruce throwing out Ricky Weeks at the plate in the first inning.
This is why you don't run on Jay Bruce. One hop, boom. Where's the runner? Oh, there he is. Hadn't even gotten to the plate yet. Perfect throw. Good form getting to the baseball. One glove, crow hop, bingo.
0-2 to Kendall. And it's in the air, right center field. This will bring in another run. Tagging and scoring is Cameron. Throw by Taveras cut off, and the Brewers have reached double digits. The Reds had allowed 11 runs in their last 59 innings. 11 runs in 59 innings. They have given up 10 runs in 3 2/3 innings tonight. Ball one upstairs to Manny Parra.
Well, Tom, that means that the Reds will just have to go back on another streak.
Yep. Starting in the 5th inning tonight. Baseball's a funny game. You're down 5-0. The pitcher leads off the next inning, hits a harmless little roller up the right side that Arroyo tried to get to, couldn't do it. It's a play where Brandon Phillips, his only choice was to flip the ball behind his back to Votto. They would have had him had the throw not been high. Votto's foot came off the bag, but to think that that play would start a 4-run inning to make it a 9-0 game, go figure. Parra drives one to deep center field. Taveras will get there, and that will retire the side. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error. After 3.5, the Brewers in front, 10-0. About Bob Uecker, the TV show that he was in back in the 1980s.
Mr. Belvedere. How about that? Is that right? It is.
And we asked him about it, and he said that, you know, how much fun he had doing that show. I mean, that show lasted, what, almost 7 years. And it's still in syndication.
That's Bob.
You know, as the story goes, we were talking to Bob Uecker. We only had a little while with him, so there are a number of things you'd love to get into, to talk with Bob Uecker about. But the story goes that, after he finished playing, he wasn't even a broadcaster yet, and he got his quote-unquote big break back in 1969, visiting with Al Hirt, the renowned jazz trumpeter from New Orleans. And really a moment in time that would alter the life of Bob Uecker, as the story is told. Hirt opened a small nightclub down in Atlanta and had asked Uecker to come up on stage with him. Hirt apparently was so impressed that he arranged an appearance for Uecker on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson.
Really?
And of course then Uecker became one of Carson's all-time favorite guests. He was on over 100 times with Johnny Carson from that first appearance until 1992, when Carson stepped away and decided he would no longer host The Tonight Show. Swung on and fouled out of play.
100 times?
Over 100.
Wow.
And he's been on many, many more times since with Jay Leno. I mean, he shortly thereafter got into baseball broadcasting and, of course, became a national celebrity. And the ABC network took full advantage of his popularity. Mr. Belvedere, the Superstars, the Miller Lite commercials, the wacky world of sports. I mean, heck, this guy was even part of WrestleMania. That's the one thing I didn't get to tonight that I wanted to ask him about. Because he was choked one night by Andre the Giant. There's a line drive, caught. Nope. Unable to get it was Corey Harden. That'll be a base hit for Darnell McDonald. With one away here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
He got choked by Andre the Giant?
Andre the Giant. It was WrestleMania. And I think the year was 1997.
Wow.
WrestleMania.
Andre the Giant's a big old dude. That's one of those things. If you get choked by Andre the Giant, you hope he understands that you're just kind of playing around and doesn't make a mistake.
That was 1987, not 97. 1987. Uecker appeared as a ringside announcer at WrestleMania 3 in Pontiac, Michigan. 1998, he was back in WrestleMania 4 as a ringside announcer and a backstage interviewer. And Andre the Giant was choking Bob Uecker.
That's one of the, I mean, there's not a lot of.
Base hit by Ryan Hannigan, and for the third straight inning, the Reds had 2 on.
That's one of those things, Tom, where you look at WrestleMania and a guy like Andre the Giant that's that big that, I mean, he could like blow your nose and maybe like hurt you.
Oh, yeah.
And if he's choking you, he's got to be very soft. And if something just happens that he might flex a muscle or twitch or something, he could snap your neck. He'd be in big trouble. Oh, my goodness.
Paul Giannis, the batter, with 2 on and 1 out. I mean, the Reds have had now 3 straight scoring chances. You had McDonald bounced into the double play with 2 on and nobody out in the second. He had the bases loaded with 2 outs when Brandon Phillips popped up to end the third. And now Giannis with 2 on and 1 out and a 2-0 count here in the fourth. Chris Dickerson, meanwhile, is in the on-deck circle and will bat for Daniel Ray Herrera. Herrera went 3 innings tonight, or at least so far. Of course, he has not been officially taken out of the game. Mike Lincoln ready to come into this game. He'd like to come in with the Reds getting a little bit closer. 3-1 now to Paul Giannis. Straightaway center field, hit a ton, but Cameron can run and run them down as well as anybody. There are really 7 guys out there, 8 guys including the pitcher, excluding the catcher, that you want to hit it to. Cameron's not one of them.
I think on this ball, when you see Cameron turn his head and turn his back to the ball, that's when you got to be standing on second base to tag to go to third. Because if that ball gets over his head and he drops it, you're going to score from second base anyway. And you can see Darnell McDonald, he's way off the bag, and by the time it's time to get back to the bag, it's way too late to try to do anything else. And a wild pitch in this ball game can mean a run if you're standing at third base.
So Dickerson now to batter, a home run, 5 batted in, carries a .217 average. A real nice job tonight by Daniel Ray Herrera. Went 3 innings, allowed 3 hits, 1 unearned run. He struck out 4 and walked 2. That's a career high for Daniel Ray Herrera, the 3 innings. Nicely done.
It'll be a little sore tomorrow.
Willie?
But it'll be good soreness.
1-1 to Dickerson. Breaking ball on the outside corner.
Sometimes when you're pitching in the bullpen and after you've gotten through the first month of the season, you've gotten 7 or 8 appearances, it's nice to go out there and pitch 3 innings. You get your arms stretched out, you get through that initial soreness. You'd be surprised at how much better your arm feels coming back after what he's just done tonight.
Two and 2 on Dickerson with 2 on and 2 men out. And Parra a couple of looks back at second. That's twice in a row Dickerson has started on breaking balls darting away from him. Twice in a row he checks his swing. Twice in a row Jason Kendall appeals down to third. And twice in a row he didn't go.
Manny Parra's looking around like, is there a conspiracy here?
Three-two pitch. The runners get started. And it's ball 4 to load them up.
I'm telling you, Tom, Manny Parra is very reachable in this ball game. He had that 3-up, 3-down inning in the first inning. He's got a 9-run lead, now a 10-run lead, and he still has not been able to get 3-up and 3-down in any inning yet, except the first. Of course, in the first inning, he didn't know he was going to have this monster lead. Now Bill Castro, Brewers pitching coach, out to talk with Manny Parra.
Well, Taveras has been in a couple of hitters' counts in each of his first 2 times up tonight. 2-1. Leading off the first inning, he popped up. 3-1. He rolled over a ground ball to the left side, legged it out for an infield hit. And he takes ball 1 up and in. Well, if the Reds really have any hopes of getting back in this game, sooner or later when they have these chances, they have to start cashing in and getting some runs. That one swung on and fouled out of play. I know some of you may be saying, give me a break. They're down 10-0. Well, it's only the 4th inning.
Against a guy like Parra, it can happen. This is not Ben Sheets. This is not CC Sabathia. This is Manny Parra. It can happen. He can walk the house as fast as he can on getting them out. The problem is right now is the Reds hitters, when you get runners in scoring position, they're swinging at bad pitches. It should be 3-0 right now.
Well, you brought it up last night over on the radio side about, not giving away at bats. Regardless of the score. 2-1 now on Willie Taveras. And that's a pop-up in the right that'll end the inning. Reds have left the bases loaded each of the last 2 innings. There it is. Andre the Giant going after Uke. Ray Herrera, 3 innings, 1 unearned run, and now we get a look at Mike Lincoln, who threw the ball very well the other night in Florida, that 14-inning game.
He really did, Tom, and this is one of those ball games where you'd really like to have Mike Lincoln go out and give you 2 or 3 really solid innings, and not only get his confidence back, but get the manager's confidence back in Mike Lincoln. Lincoln is a guy who really pitched well for this club last year in all different phases. And as you said, Tom, he pitched very well in the ball game the other night in Florida. Kid's got a great arm. He just had some mechanical problems early on in the season. I'd like to see him go out tonight and really get some things back together. And having a chance to pitch 3 innings with really the pressure off, this could be the night that could pull it all back together for him.
Staying in a game after batting in the bottom of the 4th inning is Chris Dickerson. He'll play center field. Well, the Reds certainly have had their chances here the last 3 innings. They had 2 on with nobody out in the 2nd inning. A double play and a pop-up ended that inning. They had the bases loaded with 2 outs in the 3rd when Brandon Phillips popped up. And then bases loaded in the 4th when Willie Taveras pops up. It's been a good night for Ricky Weeks. A double, a walk, a single, and a scored a run. Played nicely by Giannis. This throw is in time, 1 away. Smooth. Well, Honda gives us a chance to take a look at the Reds' home road run differential, ERA, batting average, and the most important number of all, Jeff Bramley, wins and losses.
Right there, baby, and it's all because of this right here. That would be the ERA. 10-5 with a 2.79. Can't beat that with a stick.
That ERA, by the way, at last check was the 2nd best road ERA in the league. Going into play last night, and maybe it changed before last night, although I doubt it. Arizona was number 1 in the league in road ERA, and they only allowed 3 runs in a loss to the Dodgers. But of course the Reds shut out the Marlins, so perhaps there was a flip-flop.
Well, early in the season, as far as who's on top and who's not, I think anything, you know, they're all going to be within a run or maybe a .25 or something like that. it's not that huge of an issue. The bottom thing that we know, the bottom line is that this Red staff has pitched lights out. Even
on
with
the road.
Yeah, even with tonight's ball game with Arroyo, you're still looking at a very solid team ERA.
Arizona, by the way, just fractionally better on the road after last night's action. 2.76 for the Diamondbacks, 2.79 for the Reds. Those two teams will collide starting on Monday night at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Of course, we'll have the entire road trip right here on Fox Sports Ohio. 3 against the Diamondbacks, followed by 3 games in San Diego's Petco Park.
I still believe that when this ball club comes back off the road trip and they get back into the stadium, the first ball game back, for some reason, they try to do too much. They try to strike out every batter as a pitcher, and they try to hit every pitch over the fence as a batter. And we all know that that is not possible. When you try too hard and you try to put too much effort into something, you almost squeeze the life out of it, and that's what the Reds have done.
Grounded down to third. Ball took a high hop on Hairston. His throw on the money this time, and Lincoln with a 1-2-3 fifth. Parra working on a 5-hit shutout as we begin the bottom half of the 5th inning. Reds are trailing 10-0. 9 runs off Bronson Arroyo before he got an out in the 2nd inning. Jerry Hairston Jr., Joey Votto, and then Brandon Phillips. I would not be surprised after this at bat, or maybe after this inning, if Votto were to get a little spell relief tonight. He's played every inning of every game so far this year.
They may put Lance Nix over at first base. We've seen him play some first base during the season, or during spring training.
But you never know. Well, we talked about Votto yesterday, how after the 14-inning game 2 nights ago in Florida, got to bed very, very late. I don't think anybody in the traveling party after that game in Miami fell asleep before 2:15, maybe 2:30 in the morning by the time the bus got back to the hotel. And I was telling the story how I happened to wake up very early in the morning, went down to work out, and guess who was in there already working out? You got it. Joey Votto the next morning is down there on the exercise bike, down there pumping iron. And Jeff, as you and I talked about, it's more than just coincidence. Cardinals in town over the weekend, presented by KOI Auto Parts. 381-REDS or Reds.com, a number to dial, 710-710 and 110. Looking forward to that weekend series. But you can't lay an egg in the 2 games in this series.
No. And I agree with you, Tom. I think that if anybody deserves a night off, it's Joey Votto. But the problem that you have right now is the injury issue with your shortstop. We don't have him. He's not on the DL right now. And if you take Joey out of the game, you can't put him back in. And if you end up with somebody getting hurt and you start making wholesale replacements, you could find yourself with Micah Owings playing left field and starting tomorrow.
Well, one would suspect that the Reds will not wait long, because you really put the manager at very much a disadvantage.
Big time.
When you go into games, and we brought up earlier, playing really 2 players short. And you say 2 players, what do you mean? Well, Alex Gonzalez, if he's on the active roster, you're not going to put him in a game because he can't play right now. So he's chewing up a spot that you cannot use to play in a game.
And you can't use Ramon Hernandez either, because he's your last catcher. That's your 2 spots. You're stuck.
And you mean, some people might say, well, what do you mean you can't use your backup catcher? In the 14-inning game the other night, Ryan Hannigan did not play.
Well, when he did play, it was at the end of the ball game.
Right.
It was the only thing that was left was having Micah Owings available on the bench. That's the only reason that he was able to get into the ball game, and it was at the very last second.
Yeah, but he never played in the field.
Right. He came in to pinch hit after they had put a run on the board. Not a run on the board. He did come into the ball game.
2 away in the inning. So basically it takes that kind of a game and going that deep into a game where you're forced to use your backup catcher.
Right.
I remember doing a game for Fox a couple of weeks ago, and Aramis Ramirez, the outstanding Cub third baseman, was injured the night before, and came down to talk to Lou Piniella the next day, and he said, we're going to give it a day or 2. Well, they kept saying we're going to give it another day or 2, and before you know it, 7 games had gone by and Aramis Ramirez had not played. Milton Bradley, meanwhile, the same thing with him and that quad muscle.
And you're
he
strapped.
made 1 start against the Reds where he couldn't or wouldn't run on ground balls and fly balls. They went over 2.5 weeks where Milton Bradley started 1 game.
I know.
And never put him on the DL, and they had to use 2 players every time they brought him into a game because he couldn't play defensively.
And you're talking about the Reds playing Milwaukee and St. Louis, basically 2 players down. Can't do that.
So I'm sure that they'll see how Alex is doing tomorrow and then make a determination as to whether or not he is able to play, or they have to put him on the disabled list.
And the problem that you also have is, you're not going to use Danny Herrera probably for at least tomorrow, or maybe even the next day after pitching 3 innings. But you can't send Herrera down and go with only 1 lefty right now.
That ball blasted by Brandon Phillips deep into the night, and that is a long home run for the Reds' second baseman.
Phillips got a fastball, and it was not middle in, it was middle away. And he got absolute full extension and hits it in the second deck, straight over the left fielder's head. think middle in. No, it's middle away. And watch the extension he gets there. Almost makes him fall down.
And that one into center field, a base hit by Jay Bruce. So Jay against a left-hander tonight. It's been a better night for him. He's drawn a walk, grounded out, now single.
And I've seen them saying Votto and Bruce talking with each other about approaches to left-handers and where you actually look over your shoulder as you're looking at the left-hander. Do you want to keep your chin in front of your right shoulder, or do you want your chin basically on your right shoulder as you look and wait for the left-hander to deliver?
Well, now all the smoke from the fireworks after the home run by Phillips will come creeping up behind Ricky Weeks, the second baseman. He must feel like he's in a Stephen King novel right about now.
This is what happens when you really got some good barbecue going. You get that barbecue going, you get that vinegar sauce on there, and get that fire smoking. Woo! Boy, that's good. That's hot. That's nice.
Run that by me again. That's what?
I said, woo, boy, that's good. That's hot. That's nice.
Are you pretty good on the grill, whipping up some?
Yes. Well,
burgers or steaks?
I don't want to say. I don't want to say yes, I am, because that'd be kind of like bragging. But folks that come over to my house to eat when I'm grilling, they always ask me when I'm going to grill again. So I kind of take that as a compliment. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Oh, and McDonald, and that is strike 3. So is that what your backyard looks like?
Sometimes.
A lot of nights in the off season.
Sometimes the kids out there swinging in the swing with it just like that.
For your chance to be a part of Reds Live and get your question answered on the air. Join the fun at Head First Cafe Friday at 6 p.m. That should be a jumping weekend here in downtown Cincinnati. The Reds taking on the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh. Well, Tom, you were exactly right. Dusty Baker has taken this opportunity to set the big boy down and give him a little rest. Not a full game, just a little bit of a game, but Adam Rosales has moved on into first base, and Joey Votto going to take a shower. Of course, knowing Votto, he'll stay right there on the bench to the end of the ball game, even though it's a 10-1 game.
What's where you got to make him go back up there? Some managers, although not many, but some managers will just tell the guy, you know what, going home.
Right.
We got in at 2:30 to bed 2 nights ago. Got into bed about 3:30, 4 o'clock this morning today. That one slapped into left field by a fielder. So every member of the traveling party, believe me when I tell you, could really use a good night's sleep. I know a lot of you at home are feeling the same way.
But there are guys like Joey Votto that they're 1 in a million, Tom, and you know it as well as I do. If there is one last Red that has to stay here to do something extra or staying here to finish out the ball game, he ain't leaving. He will not put on his clothes and go on.
Ball 1 to Mike Cameron. Mike Lincoln at a 1-2-3 fifth inning. Sinking liner to left will fall in front of Darnell McDonald. Fielder on to second. 2 on with nobody out. Take a look at our Firestone leaderboard. Reds with RBIs of 6 or more in a game. How many times do they do it in their careers? Johnny Lee Bench. 5 of them. And look at Brandon Phillips already on that list with 3, alongside Hall of Famer Frank Robinson. Of course, he would be right there were it not for the trade. Dave Parker, Gus Bell also with 3. What's an impressive list right there.
No kidding.
Chris Duffy will come on and run for Mike Cameron over at first base. Corey Hart had a 2-run single to start the scoring in this game back in the first inning off Bronson Arroyo. He has since bounced into a fielder's choice and struck out.
Mike Lincoln could desperately use a double play ball right here. Because for Mike Lincoln, this is not a 10-1 game. It's a 1-1 ball game in his mind. He doesn't want to give up a single run.
Tell you one thing, it may not look like it on television, but I'm not so sure there is a player on this Reds team that is in better physical condition than Mike Lincoln. This is one strong guy.
Between Lincoln, Nix, Dickerson, those 3 guys, they're in the weight room a lot.
They stand out from the crowd.
They really do.
No doubt about it.
When you talk about 6-pack on the belly, something I've never had, they got.
Well, you've had it. There's a breaking ball outside.
Never had it. Even when I was in high school, didn't have it. I think I've only got like a 4-pack.
4-pack?
I don't think I have any of those extra muscles. Maybe it's just, I don't know.
3-2. Grounded foul.
I mean, there were guys on our wrestling.
You could get one of those though if you started now.
I'm being serious. There were guys on our wrestling team. I could do more dips, more pull-ups, more anything that had to do with arm strength. But as far as having a 6-pack on your stomach, no chance. I could do 1,000,000 sit-ups. Maybe I just don't do them.
Well, maybe you ought to just start now and see if you can get it for the first time.
Yeah, I can't do that because then I'll blow my back out.
3-2 pitch, and it's popped up in the infield. And Brandon Phillips, that's the infield fly rule in effect. You can't do that with runners at first and second base. There are 2 out in the inning, or nobody out in the inning. That's what the infield fly rule is put into effect for, precisely that kind of play.
Well, Phillips did that on purpose. You can see him rolling over there behind the ball. He's going to let it sit. Now, once the ball hits the ground, you can advance at your own risk. So Phillips just sits there, lets the ball hit the ground, comes and picks it up. Nobody's going anywhere, of course. And I think that Adam Rosales was wondering if he'd made a mistake there.
Well, it's a light moment in an otherwise pretty rough night.
Yeah, you're right. But I think it scared the old boy that was over there in first base. The rookie up in the big leagues, and he sees Phillips just let it drop. Was I supposed to get that? When you're a rookie and you make a mistake, Tom, the only thing that goes through your head is, you think I'll get set down by that. That's all you think about. Can't help it.
1-1 the count, and it's rolled over foul of the third base line by J.J. Hardy. You know, I bet you we get a lot of text messages in tonight because we've already had, I think at last check it was right around what's somebody say, about 9,400 so far in tonight. Probably more than that coming. But I bet you we have a campaign that gets underway to see if you can't achieve that six-pack.
It doesn't matter if we get a campaign or not. I can't do it. I'm under orders not to do those things.
Well, you don't have to do sit-ups to make that happen. You don't have to get anywhere near a sit-up to make that happen.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
How do you think you're going to get a six-pack? Tell me what you think.
You can do a lot of aerobic exercising, which will just trim that stuff down. There's a pitch taken up and away.
There's only so much aerobic exercise that you can do that is not pounding on your.
Okay, yeah, you got a good point there. Can't argue with that. Okay.
I can't do any of that stuff.
Because you got a bad back. All right. 2-2 to count on J.J. Hardy. And it's fouled out of play. Count will stay right there.
I can remember when I first got signed, and we were in the rookie ball, and I'm out in the outfield running, and everybody else is lapping me. They're they're just flying around me, and I got my head down, running like that. And I mean, guys are just blowing by me. Finally, the coach comes out, and he says, "What's the matter with you?" And I said, "I'm running as fast as I can." He goes, "I know you are." He goes, "I'm looking at your face." He goes, "I see that you are." He said, "You're sweating bullets."
There's one. There's two.
That's when I found out I had a bad back.
Middle of the sixth, 10-1 Milwaukee in front. Light sixth inning. Now it's time for the Coors Light freeze cam. Jay Bruce cutting it loose and cutting down Ricky Weeks at home back in the opening inning. Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
How far in front of the plate he was. Threw him out by a good 10 feet. Amazing.
Ryan Hannigan to lead things off. Chris Duffy, by the way, stays in the game to play center field after running for Mike Cameron in the top of this 6th inning. It is taken high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, we've put together a new Reds text poll question.
You guys are brutal.
Over 3,400 responses within 10 minutes, I'm told. And the answer is overwhelmingly no. Well, wait a minute. Things are moving around a little bit as they continue to come in.
No.
Ball driven into deep right center field off the bat of Ryan Hannigan. And what a play made by Duffy, who just came into the game. A diving catch, sliding on that warning track. Skinned up, dirtied up, muddied up. But what a play by Duffy.
It's a good thing he had a chance to run the bases because he got loose. This ball off the bat of Hannigan, tailing away from him, and still able to dive, make the catch, and come down with the baseball. You think Manny Parra's not happy? Oh, baby. Look, big guy, the only 6-pack I want is a 6-pack of Coke. And I got them. So I'm happy. I'm way beyond that other stuff.
A little easier try this time for Mr. Duffy off the bat of Paul Giannis. 2 gone in the inning. All right, well, the fans have spoken. They're with you. They don't believe it can get done. So
it's because they're smart.
Checking some scores of other games. The Mets in a final shut out Philadelphia tonight, 1-0. A wild one down in Florida. The Braves lead the Marlins 8-6. Cubbies over Houston in the 6th inning, 5-1. The Cardinals in the 6th, a 4-2 lead over Pittsburgh. And Colorado not wasting any time jumping on the Giants. It is 6-0 Rockies in the 6th inning. Later tonight, Arizona in San Diego, and the Washington Nationals taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers with the best record in all of baseball at 20-8. They are 12-0 at home. 12-0 at home.
Man Ram. That's short for Manny Ramirez. And it doesn't really even matter that Manny Ramirez is hitting good, bad, or ugly. It's the fact that he's in the lineup, and it makes everybody else feel real good about themselves.
That is a really good looking lineup the Dodgers put out there every day. A mix of veterans, very talented youngsters. The youngsters like Loney and Sean Kemp, Andre Ethier off to a big start.
And when, you know, those guys have been around for a few years and they're really starting to come into their own. The big key now is, can the bullpen hold up, and can they continue to pitch as Dodgers teams have in the past?
Of course, a native Ohioan. Right now, if you know, you had to vote for a Cy Young Award, and obviously you don't at the beginning of May, but the hands down winner in that category would more than likely anyway be Chad Billingsley. 6 starts, 6 quality starts, already with 5 wins.
Thrown very well.
3-2 to Dickerson. We'll do it again.
But in this game, this day and age, the first half of the season gets you the All-Star team. The second half of the season gets you into the playoffs. And you better play good in the second half.
3-2. And Dickerson hanging around. Jorge Julio is up throwing in the Milwaukee bullpen. David Weathers, meanwhile, throws in the Reds bullpen.
Yeah, he's at 114 pitches now for the left-hander Manny Parra.
Pretty good at bat right there by Dickerson.
Very good. That's twice now that he's worked the left-hander Parra for a walk.
Lance Nix will bat for Mike Lincoln. Lincoln goes 2 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball. That's back-to-back strong outings by Lincoln. The Reds have gotten 5 innings out of their bullpen behind Bronson Arroyo tonight and allowed 1 unearned run. Nix hammers one into right center field. Over to cut it off is Duffy. He bottles the ball, and they're going to wave around Dickerson. And Lance Nix with another double. He has the second most doubles on the team. Second most, and he has 33 at-bats this season.
Watch this swing off a left-handed pitcher. You would not even know that Lance Nix is hitting off a left-handed pitcher as he smokes this ball into the right center field gap. Lefty, righty, it doesn't matter who's pitching, folks. This kid can flat out hit, and he deserves to play.
You know, Dusty Baker was asked a question in the Reds clubhouse before the game a couple of days ago by a reporter in Florida who had apparently read some of the websites, whatever the case may be, and said, I understand a lot of the fans back in Cincinnati want to see Lance Nix play more in left field. And first line out of Dusty's mouth was, the fans don't make out the lineup. They talked about Dickerson and off to a slow start. He's not the only Red off to a slow start. Dusty called Lance Nix into his office, had already done so earlier that day, and told him to stay sharp, that he would get playing time. But it's pretty clear that for the time being anyway, Dickerson is going to be the guy getting the majority of at-bats. And whether you agree with Dusty, disagree with Dusty, whatever the case may be, right now today, the numbers do not lie. Nix is not going to cover off the ball.
The only guy hitting better with him, the only guy hitting better than him is Votto.
So a 10-2. Game summary, a rough night for Bronson Arroyo. Very first batter of the game, he fell behind 3-1, then the hits just kept on coming. Corey Hart, a 2-run single, put the Brewers in front 2-0. J.J. Hardy, an opposite field home run with 2 aboard, 5-0 at the end of an inning. Then in the second, after an infield hit, a walk, and another single, a grand slam by Ryan Braun. That was all for Arroyo. An inning plus 7 hits, 9 runs. After falling behind 10-0, Brandon Phillips with a home run in the 5th inning. And then Lance Nix, a run-scoring double in the 6th. And Now you're up to speed. 10-2 as we begin the 7th inning. Lance Nix remains in a game to play center field and replaces Chris Dickerson. Double switch as David Weathers now takes over on the mound. Base hit into right field by Jason Kendall.
Well, they don't come much better than that, folks. You throw strikes, you keep the ball down, make good pitches. That's what the good setup men do versus guys that have no idea what they're doing. You look at David Weathers and you look at Arthur Rhodes, there's a reason that they've been around as long as they have. They know how to pitch.
Brad Nelson is now up there to pinch hit for Manny Parra. So Parra walking the tightrope really from the 2nd inning on. But give him credit. He was able to get to the other side more times than not. He wound up giving up 2 runs and 8 hits in his 6 innings tonight. So he did what he had to do, pitching with a big lead, and got it done. Struck out 5 and walked 4.
And threw 119 pitches in 6 innings. Wow. That's a lot of pitches. That's a lot of pitches in 9 or 10 innings.
But for Manny Parra, he is hoping that is more than enough to get him his first win of the year. Came in 0-4. They'll have to hurry here. There's one. Phillips turns it, and that's a double play.
Nelson hits this ball bailing out at home plate right to Yanish, and Phillips comes up and throws a bullet across there to Adam Rosales.
By David Weathers entering the game tonight, it's the 906th appearance of his career. And take a look at the name he's now tied with. Cy Young for 19th all-time in the history of baseball.
What is the saying about Cy Young? He's the only, what is it? He's the only, I think it's the one, he's the only Hall of Famer, only Hall of Fame pitcher that's never won the Cy Young. Is that right? I think that's it.
Probably right.
Can't win an award the same at you, but I think that's it. Or only one, but I don't know. Something like that.
I think it's he's won the most games in the history of baseball that did not win a Cy Young.
I got you.
Although, I mean, did Walter Johnson win a Cy Young? I don't think so. Did he?
Yeah, it's something else. I don't know what it is, but it's something like that. It's a kind of a cool little saying. But it's because he has a Cy Young award.
Even well into his 60s, he can still crank it up there.
I was going to say he didn't look like he was no 25-year-old early. I was going to say he looked like my granddad.
One on and fouled out of play. First base side by Weeks. The Cy Young Award was given away beginning in 1956. So there were a lot of great pitchers never won a Cy Young. Two and two to count on Weeks. And he struck him out swinging to end the inning. So the beat goes on for David Weathers. We march on to the bottom of the 7th. Reds trail 10-2.
are down by 8, and they have been down since the beginning of the ball game. 5 in the first, 4 in the second, 1 in the fourth for the Milwaukee Brewers. New pitcher on the mound for the Brewers, taking over for Manny Parra, who pitched the first 6 innings of this ball game. For the Brewers will be Jorge Julio.
Well, there was a time this guy was a pretty rock-solid closer in Major League Baseball.
It all comes down to throwing strikes with a consistent basis, and he has never been able to do that. Can he strike guys out at any time? Sure. Can he throw strikes anytime? Well, your guess is as good as mine.
Fly ball, short center, caught by Duffy. Adam Rosales retired his first at bat tonight, 1 away. But tonight, just one of those nights. I mean, it happens to every team. Doesn't matter if it's the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Phillies, Boston. I mean, you pick a team. It's going to happen to everybody, and unfortunately tonight is that night so far anyway for the Reds. Fell behind 9-0 in the first 2 innings.
I don't think there's anything that you can do about it. The club is playing good baseball, and one game is not going to take that away. We saw that the other night. If any game was going to take it away, it would have been losing in 14 innings after being 2-2 and having all kind of chances to win. And the Reds came back the next day and just powdered the Marlins.
One and one to Brandon Phillips, who homered his last time up.
Jorge Julio reminds me of one of those pitchers that just, why even look at the mitt? Just close your eyes and fire it.
Deep in the hole at short. Hardy turns it loose. A run hop throw. What a beautiful play by J.J. Hardy. We invite you to register now to run the Redlegs Run for Home 5K. That's on Saturday, May the 30th. The race winds through downtown, finishes up right inside the ballpark. There's also a 1-mile run and a Gappers Fun Run for the kids. Sign up now at Reds.com/5K or visit the Reds Community Fund booth at Great American Ballpark. You have any chance of running in that race?
You talking to me?
Yeah. Any chance whatsoever that maybe you won in that 5K? That ball in the air to deep left field, and Jay Bruce is homered. Number 7 on the year. That is a team high for Jay Bruce.
Both Jay Bruce and Votto have power that way. You combine Phillips with that trio, and they can all hit the ball out from that 379 side all the way to the left field corner. Fastball tails right back out over the plate, and it's up, and Jay Bruce says, "See ya."
And it continues now for Darnell McDonald. Reds down 10-3 here in the 7th. They've scored in each of the last 3 innings, and they had plenty of chances in the 3 innings before that against Manny Parra. They left the bases loaded in both the 3rd and 4th innings. Nice play by Counsell. So the left side of the Brewer infield, a couple of nice plays in that inning. Bruce a home run. We go to the 8th. Reds trail by 7. Reds are going to get their closer a little work tonight. Francisco Cordero, he was the only member of the Reds bullpen not to pitch in that 14-inning game in Florida 2 nights ago. In fact, he did not pitch in either game in the series.
And 2 days off, not a big deal. 3 days off, that's a big deal. And according to Mr. Wagner, our statistician extraordinaire up here, I was wrong when I said that Cordero shouldn't have been in a ball game in a non-save situation, because he locks down just as good in a non-save situation as he does in a save situation, and that is a good thing.
Craig Counsell to lead things off for the Brewers. He followed by Ryan Braun and then Prince Fielder.
Boy, Cordero didn't like that baseball. He threw one pitch with it, and off to the dugout it went with that ball.
Well, Counsell is just stinging the baseball. That one's under the glove of Bruce. And into second base with a double is Craig Counsell. That's his 3rd hit tonight.
Looked like a fastball up and out, of running out over the plate, and that's exactly where it was. And when Counsell holds his hands up high like that, it just enables him to get to the fastball with a flat bat, and that's exactly what he did on that one.
Ryan Braun 1 for 4, and the one was a big one. He hit the lottery. A grand slam back in the 2nd inning off Bronson Arroyo.
Boy, Tim McClellan has been some kind of tight back there tonight.
Hairston able to get a glove on it, and backing up the play is Giannis. That'll be a base hit for Ryan Braun.
Watch the glove hand of Jerry Hairston Jr. You get the glove trying to move up. Even as quick as you try to pull the glove up to snag that ball, that overspin that Braun had on that one just kicked it straight from the ground, straight up into the air. He's lucky that he stopped it all.
Now Prince Fielder with 2 on and nobody out here in the Milwaukee 8th inning. I don't know if Mark Wagner, our statistician, when you had brought up Cordero coming into a tie game, whether it was broken down in save situations as opposed to non-save situations.
I think that's what we were looking at.
Well, you know, it might be interesting sometime and be probably very hard to find this. And I'm not disputing that his numbers still aren't lights out. But oftentimes when you see closers that struggle in a non-save situation, it's in a game where they have a chance to get a loss, meaning a tie game. So what I'm saying is there's really 2 ways to kind of split that hair once you get to non-save situations. You know, are they coming into the game
like this,
where, you know, they mow down the side 1, 2, 3, or give up 4, as opposed to coming into a tie game and then what their ERA is. I think that's what you were talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to speak for you, but
no,
I mean,
I was actually talking about any time that it was non-save.
One away in the inning on a pop up the field.
Reds fans, for a great tasting quality meal for your family, pick up a bag of JTM beef or chicken Philly's cheesesteaks from your favorite grocer. JTM, food, family, and fun.
You could use a little of that JTM right about now, couldn't you?
Yes, sir.
Run that by me again.
I said, yes, sir.
It's the first one of the night. Nice.
You like that?
I do. Got my kids saying it that way all the time.
Good.
Instead of just yes, sir, it's yeah, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How about that kind of play by Chris Duffy? You don't mind if I borrow that, do you? I'm trying to teach our kids yes, sir, no, man. But every time it's, you know, anytime it's the sir part, I've got our two kids, yes, sir.
I don't mind.
Okay, thank you. To the count on Duffy. We'll do it again. Well, hopefully we'll see plenty of Francisco Cordero over the next few days.
Well, but
not in situations like this one.
No. And I think that's part of the reason of getting him in this ball game tonight is to get him back sharp, get him back on the mound, on the home mound, which he has not been for quite some time.
Good looking pitch there, and he puts away Duffy on strikes for the second out here in the 8th inning.
Because he may end up pitching tomorrow night.
Cordero's not blown a save all year long. It's hard to believe with the Reds, as good as their pitching has been, and as inconsistent and at times downright poor as their offense has been, it's hard to believe that they have only played 6 one-run games. And I say only 6 because a team like Milwaukee's already played 10. And you have other teams in the National League that have played a lot more one-run games than that.
Well, I think when you talk about a one-run game, it's usually a 5-4 or a 4-3 or something like that. And for the most part, when the Reds have been winning ball games, it's been 3-0, 2-0.
Yeah, you know, you're right, because they just shut them down.
Right, just shut them down. They've been beating other teams where they've scored 4 runs or 5 runs, and the other team only gets 1. Close ball game, but yet not a one-run game.
Yeah, over 25% of the Reds games they have played this season, almost 25%, have been in shutouts.
Right. And
they've thrown 6 and been shut out once.
And we know that they have not put the 10-run spot on the board. And only a few times this year have they put over double-digit hits on the board.
3-2 to Corey Hart.
Save that slider, my friend, Coco Cordero. He's got some serious exit speed.
Three and 2 on Corey Hart. Runners go, and that's strike 3. No, he got a piece of it. I beg your pardon. Well, we were a half hour, almost a full hour, I beg your pardon, late getting started tonight. And here we are in the 8th inning, and that one is in the air to right center field. Bruce circles it, and short of the track, he's got it to end the inning. 2 hits, 2 left, middle of the 8th. Brewers with a 10-3 lead. play it was by Chris Duffy, who came into the game as a pinch runner, stayed in to play defense, and certainly Mike Cameron, the man he replaced, would applaud that. I mean, in a 9-run game, an effort like that by Duffy, that's a great play. Ryan Hannigan to lead things off for the Reds against Jorge Julio, on for his second inning of work. He gave up a home run to Jay Bruce in the 7th. Ground ball down to third. Council's got it. 1 away. I'd like to remind you the Best Sports Show period comes your way. Hosted by Chris Rose and Carissa Thompson weeknights. Presented by 1-800-SAFE Auto. Brewers have a new catcher in, making his major league debut, Carlos Corcoran. They just brought him up from the minor leagues. Off the end of the bat, fly ball by Giannis into left field. And quickly 2 gone in the Reds' 8th inning. Hernandez will now come on and bat for Francisco Cordero. He goes 1 inning, allows a couple of hits, a strikeout, and no runs.
And this is the place, Tom, where we were talking about earlier about being short on the bench. You'd love to be able to give Hernandez a full night off, especially as much as he's had to catch. But it's not going to happen. Because you can't pitch Owings, or you can't pitch hit Owings in this ball game with the fact that he's pitching. Where you going, bro?
I'm getting out of the way.
I want to catch it.
Well, you go catch it. I don't get paid to catch foul balls. Have no interest in trying to be a hero.
I'm not trying to be a hero. I just want to see if I can catch one.
No how, no way. Thank the Lord above, my fingers work just fine. I got my teeth to eat food, and I got my eyes to watch a ball game.
And to make sure that them all done.
Thank the Lord above for all of it, and there's no sense in trying to catch foul balls that could change all that.
I understand. I understand. I did see that big old smoke in the side of the wall in the radio booth in there. That was not very pretty at all.
Two and two to Ramon.
Were these guys teammates in Baltimore at some point in time?
You know, I don't think. I think Julio was gone by the time Hernandez got there.
Was he?
Hernandez was there, what, 2 years, right?
I think so.
Julio was already gone by then.
Hasta la vista.
Okay, when that guy's on, he is mighty tough to hit. The inning is over. We go to the ninth, mercifully, 10-3, Milwaukee in front.
Can't blame him.
It's a pretty shrewd move here made tonight by Dusty Baker. He's going to hand the ball to Paul Janisch, who makes his first career major league pitching appearance.
And not only that, but he keeps Hannigan in the ball game, puts Hernandez at first base, so it saves the needs of Hernandez at least for a night. Gives him an at bat, and we'll see what Paul Janisch can do.
We'll be facing J.J. Hardy, the backup catcher Carlos Corcoran, and in the pitcher spot Julio. And there's strike by Janisch.
He's got a good fastball. It's straight over the top. Hides the ball well. Good quick arm action.
91 miles per hour that was on the gun. You buying that?
He's been 90, 90, and 91 right on the outside corner.
And he strikes out J.J. Hardy. And Hardy will never hear the end of that.
92-mile-an-hour heater right on the black. Watch the fastball as it comes back to the outside corner. A little tail away, and J.J. Hardy had to guess for it. Couldn't quite get it.
Edinson Volquez digging that. So too is Aaron Harang, Chris Dickerson. Hardy does not find that humorous in the least bit.
Oh, no. Well, no position player likes to get struck out by another position player.
The last Reds position player to pitch in a game, our old buddy Lenny Harris.
Yes.
On June the 1st, 1998, against the Giants.
How about Carlos Corcoran, his first major league at bat? He's facing the shortstop for the Cincinnati Reds. He can't even if he does something good, nobody's going to care.
I mean, he will be punished in that dugout if he gets a hit off this guy. I mean, he is right there at 90, 91, 92, every fastball that he's throwing. Well, Janisch has had that arm rebuilt after he played 1 year in the Reds minor league system. He had Tommy John surgery performed by Dr. Kremchek. There's a pop-up in short left, and Corcoran has his first major league hit off Paul Janisch.
He's never going to hear the end of it.
But you know what? It's his first hit.
It is.
So everybody else will make fun of him, but we tell him congratulations.
So now they're going to get the ball and throw it into the dugout. You know, it's kind of half fun and half not. Now let's see what Janisch has out of the stretch. Some guys, when they have to change from the windup to the stretch, it makes a little difference for them.
Casey McGee will bat, pardon me, for Julio. Well, Corcoran's been in the minor leagues for 6.5 years. So it wouldn't make any difference if it was Amanda Janisch out there on the mound. His first big league hit, he's been waiting a long time to get it. And putting in a lot of long days and nights as a catcher and traveling through the minor leagues.
Well, the one thing that you don't want to have happen is have Paul Janisch be out there for a long time. You want him to just go ahead and get the guys out, or at least make them swing the bat and get it over with. Tell you what, he can paint that outside corner a little bit now.
Into center field, a base hit. So a couple of base hits for the Brewers. One out here in the 9th inning. Brewers have 16 hits in the game. Dusty Baker was just hoping, like you said, Jeff, to get this over and done with, this 9th inning with Janisch out there on the mound.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's a guy right now that conceivably is your everyday shortstop. Now, we saw Hairston there last night.
Right.
And might see Hairston there again tomorrow night. But the most experienced shortstop that the Reds have on their roster, if Alex Gonzalez can't play, is Paul Janisch. So you don't want this thing, like you said, to get lengthy and get ugly.
Right. And right now he's only throwing fastballs. He's not doing anything silly. He's trying to make him swing the bat. Now, if he did have a slider, now would be a good time to throw it. Throw a snapdragon up there right now. Throw it right at him, too. That's when you really get a guy. When you're a position player, you throw that curveball and it starts right at the other guy, and they go right to the dirt. It breaks over the plate. Yeah! You're cleaning dust off of you as you head back to the dugout. Everybody's just crying, laughing. Not good.
1-2 again. And another fastball upstairs on a check swing. 2-2. Janisch is throwing the ball at, hitting speed.
He's
a lot of times you see a position player come in there and they'll float it up there in the 70s, 75, 78, 80 miles an hour, and guys have a hard time with it. A 90-mile-an-hour fastball, guys like hitting that.
Right. Well, he's got to make something happen here, because you don't want to have 2 walks and get guys where it starts to get ugly for Janisch. You don't want to get Janisch hurt in this situation, is what I'm saying. There we go.
The out at second base. 2 away in the inning on a fielder's choice by Weeks. Well, now Craig Counsell a hit away from a 4-hit night. He has singled twice, scored twice, and doubled his last at bat an inning ago. It is a 4-hit night. A double down the right field line. This will bring in 1 run. And Craig Counsell, 4 hits tonight on RBI in 6 at bats. Counsell changed that batting stance of his during the offseason, and not just tonight, but he's been hitting well all year.
Well, what he's done, he's kept the hands up above the ear of the batting helmet, and he's not holding his arm straight up, but he's kept the bat up there. And what he's done is, as the pitch starts to come to home plate, he drops those hands right down to his shoulder level, his left shoulder, and he turns that right shoulder in a little bit.
All right, now when do you start getting a little bit concerned here as far as pitches are concerned? Is there any way to guess on that, Jeff, or not really?
I'm going to say 40 is probably the cutoff point.
There's a base hit in the center field. It'll score 2 more runs. It is 13-3 Milwaukee. Ryan Braun has knocked in 6 runs in the game. Still no activity in the Reds bullpen. There are 2 outs in the inning. Janisch may be starting to run out of steam here a little bit.
Well, I think that may end up being a good thing. That way he can just aim for the catcher's mitt or the catcher's helmet and let the ball float down to where the mitt is. I mean, let's face it, he's still throwing the ball 88 miles an hour. He's throwing the ball hard. He walked out there throwing 91, 92. Heck, I didn't throw that hard a lot of times in the game's out. Man.
That was an all-speed pitch of some kind right there.
It's because he's getting tired. He threw a little changeup or a split finger or something there.
And that ball is clobbered way back into the moon deck in right field. And that is a towering home run by Prince Fielder. It is a 5-run ninth inning for the Brewers off Red shortstop Paul Janisch.
Well, he did hit that one a long way, and I once heard Jim Leland say, fellas, sometimes it's not about the game today, it's about the game tomorrow. And right now for the Reds, it's about the game tomorrow. It's not about today.
You know, you can't ask these Brewer hitters to go up there and give away at bats and not try to get on base. The only thing that you don't want to have happen is, you know, giving the guys a green light on a 3-0 pitch or something like that. But that has not happened, and Ken Maka would not let that happen. There's a broken bat flare down the right field line out of play. 0-2 on Duffy.
No, I think if you're the hitter, you go up there and you play it just like you would if it was a regular pitcher on the mound. Same thing on the defensive side. The only thing that's changed is the pitcher. Changeup right there. Fastball changeup.
That fan down the first base line came to this game warm, clean, one would assume. And after diving out there and trying to get that foul ball, not going to be pretty.
Good luck, buddy. Somebody just snagged a fly ball over here. A pretty good catch. There you go.
Inning is over.
He struck out too.
5 runs in the Brewers' ninth inning. They stand and applaud Paul Janisch.
just fine. That's the first thing he asked him. You all right? You sure?
And Dusty appreciates it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's a guy appreciative of getting a chance with the Milwaukee Brewers. Right-hander Todd Coffey has thrown the ball pretty well for this team this year. Got off to a great start. He has not been nearly as effective as he was the first 2 weeks of the season when we saw him and he had not allowed a run.
Well, he threw the ball very well until they stuck him in that closer's role. That's where the problems started to arise.
Saw 2 out of 4 in safe situations. Coffey. They were without, you may remember, when the Reds played the Brewers in Milwaukee, Trevor Hoffman.
And they really had no choice at that point because Villanueva wasn't getting anybody out. They didn't have Hoffman. The best pitcher that they had going was Coffey.
You know, oftentimes you'll see a player leave one organization and sign with another and really immediately take off as that's a broken bat, a spear. Lance Nix' bat well beyond the first base bag. But they'll go somewhere and they'll badmouth the organization they were with. And, you know, it seems to be kind of the trend these days. When things don't go the way, you know, you want them, always blame the other guy. But no, I mean, Coffey, some in the Reds, I think, looked at it that way when he said, you know, they wanted me to throw a 4-seam fastball and not throw a 2-seam fastball. Now, there are some people that read that and they say, well, you know, he's beaten up on fill in the blank. Manager, pitching coach, general manager, whoever you want. But knowing Todd Coffey, that is not his M.O.
No, I think all the Reds wanted him to do was throw strikes. He couldn't throw strikes with a 2-seamer, so they asked him to do it with a 4-seamer. And it just didn't work out. He's throwing strikes now with the 2-seamer, and it is working out. Watch the movement on this pitch. This pitch starts in the middle of the plate, and it takes off. And we know how good of hitting that Lance Nix has done, and that ball started in the heart of the plate, and it did not stay there. It moved, and it moved late and hard.
Now Jerry Hairston Jr.
But I think you would agree with me, Tom, if Todd Coffey had thrown the ball the way that he's throwing it now and getting people out instead of walking guys and giving up 3 home runs in a ball game, then he would still be here.
Yep. Yeah, you don't just give away guys that
not with an arm like that.
95 miles an hour. You don't do it. No organization does, especially when you're talking about a guy that pitched very well for your big league club in back-to-back years. And it wasn't until his last 2 years where the proverbial wheels fell off for Coffey. And now he's trying to get it back together again at the big league level. So far for him, so good.
And it's all about confidence for this young man.
Broken bat roller down to third. McGee stays in the game and throws out Hairston, and the Reds are down to their final out.
That was a loud snap right there. You could hear that all the way up here.
Well, the opening game of this series has not gone the way the Reds hoped it would. It is extremely reminiscent, as Jeff brought up earlier, although in not nearly as dramatic a way as when the team came back home following that 7-3 road trip. And in the very first game of it against Atlanta, That's when Edinson Volquez walked 7 batters. And it was just not a pretty game.
No. And I fully expect this club to come out tomorrow and play like they did in the last game in Florida. Fight for it, take the battle to the other team, and not wait for the battle to come to you.
Reds will send Micah Owings to the mound tomorrow night in game 2 of the series. Brewers will start veteran Braden Looper. 7:10 first pitch tomorrow night. Reds Live gets underway with Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro tomorrow at 6:30, and we invite you to join us. Cowboy, you and I will be right back here tomorrow night.
You got that right.
1-2 on Adam Rosado. The fastball is high. Rosados and Coffey were teammates, in fact, last year down at AAA Louisville.
That's right. That's the funny part about the minor leagues. There are a lot of guys that you play with and against. You form friendships in some way or another because you've played in a postseason all-star team or something along that line. Maybe played college against each other or with each other. And now you're in the big leagues, and it's me against you, fella.
Check swing and a miss by Rosados, and that is the old ball game tonight. Not a good one for the Reds to begin this 5-game homestand. They are blistered by the Brewers 15-3. Ryan Braun knocks in a career high 6 runs tonight. 15